What is going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that everybody is enjoying this beautiful summer day. Listen, today's reunion day. Today's the day the Real Housewives of Atlanta Sweet 16, Season 16, they're filming. This is the reunion seating chart, and I have a couple questions. And I know a lot of people online have questions as well. Now, the first and the most obvious question is regarding the absence of Miss Brit Edy. Like, where is Brit? Where is she at? I mean, don't get me wrong, she has not been a fan favorite. However, I was under, I guess, the thinking that, or the impression, I was under the impression that as a housewife, you had an obligation under your contract to attend the reunion. Like, it reminds me of, Garcelle Bouvet when she was on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She stayed until the very last, season, well, part three. And as soon as they, got up to get that toast and clink those watermelon drinks, she was like, I'm out, I'm done, I quit. But she was smart enough to fulfill that, that contract. And then she walked out because, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, but I always thought that you had to attend the reunion in order to receive your last check. And as we know, and listen, and I'm not trying to shade Brittany, but from the moment that her and her husband came on the show, even her tagline talks about how she's pretty and paid, but her behavior on the show screamed anything but paid. Okay, she left them folks hungry at her country club event, right? She only brought 2 rolls of toilet tissues to the donations at Shamia's house. With the bare naked event that she had at the country club, which she's her, or at least her husband, is named in a lawsuit for non-payment. She didn't even add tissue boxes to the undergarments that she was presenting to the ladies. And this is like, okay, Brittany, now a lot of the earlier housewives, they didn't have a lot of money starting out. However, they were at least able to present it in a way that, you know, they could, I don't want to say like hide it, but tissue paper, you can go to a dollar store and get tissue paper. Like, you don't want to present anybody, especially something as, close to your body as undergarments and Spanx and essentially like lingerie. Like, you want that to be wrapped up really in like plastic, But if you can't do it in plastic, like I said, at least some tissue paper, some kind of box or something, not just a brown box where it's exposed. That's not very hygienic. But the whole season, okay, she was just giving not just not paid, right? Even in that car scene, she was with her husband and they were looking at the car and she had her leg up and stuff like that. But she didn't ride off the lot on that car. You know what I mean? She was just essentially, it reminded me of, you guys remember Risa Tisa and her TikTok series, Why the F Did I Get Married? And her husband at the time would always take her to the car lot to look at the BMWs and all these, but he was a liar, a scammer. She said they would just look at the cars. He would specifically ask her, like, what's your dream car? What do you want? I'm going to get it for you. And she said she got to the point where she was so tired of going to these car lots just to take the test drives, but not leaving with anything. Like, Brittany, you need this last check, mama. I said all that to say this would not be a time to, negate showing up because you got lawsuits, you got, your mom moving in, you got you got a whole lot going on, Miss Ma'am. Um, but anyway, I'm gonna move on from Britt because she obviously couldn't take the heat, and she got up out of there. Hopefully, they bring Kenya back. Like, that's my second question. Are you guys going to bring Kenya Moore back now that Brit Edy is gone? I would love for Kenya to come back. If you're going to bring Phaedra back, I feel like Kenya definitely should be brought back. My next question though is regarding the actual seating chart, right? So we have Portia, and sitting next to Andy on the left. Then we have Phaedra Parks, and then we have Cynthia. And okay, so Cynthia's a friend of the show. I get that. Phaedra, she came back for the latter part of the season. Okay. Portia, like I said, she used to be, not even one of my favorites, but she used to be okay. Like she was in the middle, but she's kind of fallen by the wayside. She has showed her whole behind, in my opinion, on this season. She's really become like a mean girl and not really fun to watch. So, okay. But she is a Bravo darling because, they brought Portia back after Portia has lashed out and was violent to multiple cast members throughout the seasons, Kenya, Cynthia, et cetera, et cetera. Portia's always, putting a pause on somebody. Like I said, anybody else they would have kicked off, but for some reason they kept bringing Portia back. So she's a Bravo darling, I get, while she's sitting next to Andy. Okay, so on the right we have Shamia. Now this, I don't understand why Shamia would have the first chair, and then we have Angela, then we have Kelly, and then we have Drew at the very end. Now, in my opinion, I feel like Shamia and Drew should be switched. Drew, this season, Drew really has shown up. She's clocked in. She was clocking Portia's tea, and I have to make my recap of the most recent episode in the next video. But she was clocking Portia's tea pretty much throughout the whole season, especially when they sat down, right? Portia has ran from every conversation, every confrontation that, she's had, whether it was with Shamia, whether it was with Drew. She was crying when Angela was talking to her. And I understand she has a lot going on, but listen, if you're not going to be open and transparent about your life, then why are you on the show? Like if you a runner and a track star, when everybody tries to talk to you, then it's like it's a moot point. It doesn't make sense. So I don't know why Shamia is first chair. I do appreciate the fact that she has been pretty open and transparent. I think that she probably does regret that whole lapdog. She has an Instagram post where she's sitting on Portia's lap with her tongue out, trying to make fun of it. But at the same time, it's like, girl, people expected you to really be the breakout star this season. You have a gorgeous mansion, you have, all these things, but you're still running after Portia, and Portia was essentially paying you dust this whole season. You hate to see it. So I'm not really sure why Shamia is, like I said, first chair, but it is what it is. Next, we have Angela. I feel like Angela is the breakout star that people expected, Shamia to be. However, Angela, as much as I like her, she has this level of self-delusion that may be necessary, to carry on with her life. Like I said, I don't feel like a lot of people in Angela's life are really supportive of her. But, she's $2 million in debt, so she's not going to rock the boat too much. Next, we have Kelly. And Kelly's one of my favorites, actually, on the show. I feel like I really wish that she would have been maybe even where, Phaedra was, or even like Cynthia could have been last, because she was a friend of. But for whatever reason, I don't know if they're phasing Drew out. I don't know if, like Bravo is tired of her, because Drew, even though, like I said, she did clock in, she's not always the most honest, especially since, Ralph just put on Instagram that, she was feeding him steak, and, that he's not all the time downstairs, that they, come up and cook and canoodle and do all the things. So it's like, she's presenting a TV version, and then there's a real version behind the scenes. So I don't know if that's, like I said, the reason why they're phasing her out. We'll have to see for next season. But Brit just completely disappeared. So I hope that wherever she is, her and her husband can get that lawsuit together, that they can, um, you know, do just any events that they may have in the future. They can learn and grow from the experience, from the feedback, right? They can take the criticism as constructive and grow from her time of being a Real Housewives. But yeah, she's the real runner and track star. Britt is gone. So bring Kenya back. We need her. You guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section about the seating chart. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.